Greetings. I get frequent questions about selecting crops for growing here. Now, I'm not talking about for the food forests or home gardens. I'm talking about people who are thinking about wanting to raise a certain crop, and they want to come here and they want to do it. Frequently, what I'm finding is that the people seem to have a passion for a certain plant. Common people come and they want to raise coffee, or they come here they want to raise cacao, or there's people that want to raise vanilla. Okay, and all of these crops will grow here, so they're all feasible. But it seems to me that when it comes to farming, farming is a business. It has to be a business or it's not a farm. This is a real important thing, because I think a lot of the folks that are getting into this and wanting to come here and raise a crop, they probably got their start over in the mainland working in gardens. And they found they could grow things. Maybe they had orchards, and things. But mostly it was, I believe, home production and maybe some farmers market stuff. But that's the kind of experience level in the background that I'm picking up on. And so almost none of these people actually had experience as farmers in the mainland. They're wanting to try to do this. And it's okay. I could think of worse ways to starve to death than being a farmer. Yeah, it's not a real good way to make a living. Okay, it's a nice lifestyle. Yeah, you're outdoors a lot, get a lot of sunshine, plenty of sunburns. You're your own boss most of the time, and so on. So there's a lot of things about it that appeal. You're in the environment most of the time. That's all good stuff. But farming has to be profitable to exist and continue. And so it is a business. And what I find is most successful farmers probably have some idea of what kind of farming operation they're going to go into. This is pretty normal. But as far as a passion for a particular plant, for instance, I think most good farmers are actually more passionate about profits than they are about plants. This is an important distinction, because you can love plants to death, but that doesn't mean you're going to make any money with them at all. It can, because a passion can carry you a long ways, But I have my own personal experience in life in that regard, in that I was passionate about music earlier in my life, but I wasn't that business oriented. And so I don't make any money off music anymore. It turned out to be a bad thing for me. It wasn't about the time that I went back to college and I started to study business, and then I made the transition from music into horticulture, that then I applied business principles to horticulture and suddenly found out, hey, I can make a living. Yeah, so it's business first, really. Passion for whatever plant second. There is also another problem with locking in on a certain plant. Okay, it's confining. That creates a compartment that you're working in. You're a cacao farmer. Okay, well, most of the guys I know around here that farm cacao usually do more than just farm cacao. Tom Sharkey's got chocolate growing, and then in his chocolate he is hanging vanilla orchids, and so he's got vanilla growing in the chocolate. The guy also does coffee. I think he makes more money probably off of his chocolate than he makes off of his coffee. Okay, so this is an important diversification. Some things are by their own nature somewhat diversified. I raise produce here. I raise a few things. We do quite a bit of pineapple. If I'm to point at any one particular farm crop here, that's the big one. It's the white pineapple. We do more of that than anything else. But my best business really is the nursery, and the nursery is farming. It's a type of farming. I'm the guy that's getting the plants ready for you to take them and do something with them. It's a farming operation. I like it because it's extremely compact. Yes, it's a lot of money in a nursery table. It's a very compact way of farming. You don't need 1,000 acres when you do nursery. It's also by its own nature diversified because I don't grow just one thing. Well, some nurseries do, but I don't. I come from a background where we raised almost everything we could raise. And, I raise quite a variety. I've got between herbs and coffee plants and, there's vegetables and all sorts of native plants, all sorts of things out here. Got a good crop of koa trees at the moment. Talking about natives, anybody wants to plant koa. Yep. So it's diversified because one year, somebody's looking for cacao plants. Later, it's coffee. Nursery is always changing anyway. But it's fairly easy within a matter of months to completely redo the set. I might have had 1,000 coffee plants out there, and they're not selling very well, so I clear them out. But everybody's asking me for vanilla. So it only takes me a few months to come up with a crop of vanilla that I can sell. So it is, in its own sense, diversified. It can take a long time to set up agriculture on a farm. A lot of the land around here needs serious work to be able to actually go into farming. You're going to have to get out there and prepare the lava somehow. So there's that step. Then if you're doing coffee, which is very common. Coffee, you got to have the plants. You got to have the plants in the field. It's going to take about 5 years to be able to get something off of them. In the meantime, you'll be putting up buildings and sheds that house all the machinery that you use to process your coffee. There's a lot of machinery involved here, and so on. So you're probably going to be, probably well beyond 6 years before you actually even make any money, let alone a profit. Can't predict, depends on who you are and how you do it, is when the profits come on, but you'd be lucky if you make a penny. You'd be bleeding money out nonstop to get that project started. Well, that isn't encouraging. When I started with coffee over here, we put couple of pineapples, white pineapples, in between every coffee plant and every other coffee plant. That way I was able to get, the pineapples came on in 2 years, took the coffee 5. So with the pineapples, it had something to help kind of tide us over. Plus the pineapples don't need the kind of infrastructure that coffee needs. Okay, I don't need processing equipment, for instance. I don't need sheds for them. And since we tend to just wholesale the pineapples to other people anyway, I don't even need to pack them or boxes or much of anything. We pretty much just haul them in carts and put them in trucks and send them on down the road. From this place is how we do it. So I don't need much to do that. I like it. Yeah, I find the pineapple has almost every part of it is worth money. Slips, tops, old plants, fruit. It's all got value. That's a great crop when you've got every piece. Okay. So got to think about that, because if you're thinking you want to go into doing farming, no matter where you are, whether it's here, whether it's in Minnesota, this is very important. You may have a passion for a certain thing, but it may not work out. The other issue we have is that the problems around growing here increase annually. Hawaii paradise is a state of mind, believe me, not a state in the union. Because, as an example, when I first purchased this property, we didn't have any coqui frogs up here. now the dang things will keep me up half the night. When I first purchased this property, we did not have any coffee bean borers. When I planted coffee, we didn't have coffee bean borers. It wasn't until after I was harvesting several crops that the bug showed up, and then now at this point it destroys 50% of what's in the trees. And the Department of Agriculture has released a parasite that may help with the beetle. We'll see. But for the meantime, you have no recourse but to spray your coffee in order to keep the beetles from destroying most of the crop. Then the coffee rust got here, and so that dropped all the leaves off the plants, and right in the middle of the cropping season, trashed everything. Cherries fell out of the trees, the whole works. That's a new disease here. Okay. The Aedes mosquito, the Asian tiger mosquito, that's a fairly new bug. It was not on this farm when I first purchased the land, okay? So there's a list, the frogs, the coffee bean borer, the coffee rust, the Aedes mosquito. There's a bunch of others too that just keep showing up. Yeah, new problems, though. The avocado lace bug. Growing avocados here used to be so easy. Yeah, it was so easy. Then the bug got here from California, and it's really trashed the crops. So far, not so bad this year. But, so, wherever you're starting from, life might be good at that point, but don't expect it to stay that way. Okay? Problems just keep showing up over here, and the longer you're doing something, the more likely you're going to run into some issues that are really going to mess with you. In our case, we've probably cut down hundreds of coffee trees on this property and disposed of them. I ground them up for compost and threw them under my fruit trees, mixed with chicken manure and lime, because it's not worth it anymore. It's just not worth it. The only coffee I keep around is for mother stock, for sowing seed or for growing plants in the nursery. That's it. All the rest of the coffee is out of here, and whatever is still hanging around that won't be used for mother stock is going to leave. Yeah, it seems to me that many of the ideas we had when we first got started with this eventually ended up kind of souring. The coffee was one. Some of them flourished, so nursery flourished. For instance, pineapple flourished. So because our approach in farming here was diversified, we did several different things at the same time. Now we can throw quite a few of them out. I've been throwing the coffee out. Right, Gracie? Yeah. It's my cat. Anyhow, I just thought I'd mention a little bit about this whole farming thing, that people have a passion for wanting to live in paradise, and I notice they also seem to have passion for plants that grow in paradise. And well, it's nice if you really like what you're growing. That does help, I guess, but when you're locked into one specific thing and you've got your eggs all in one basket, and before you've even maybe got the land, whatever, you already have this whole thing, and you may find out that it ain't what you thought it was. And so you're better off if you have diversification and if you're going things so that you have backup. Work with ideas as backup, because if you're going to be a farmer, your passion for profits has to be higher than the passion for the crop you're growing. Yeah. The crop becomes irrelevant if it isn't profiting. Aloha, folks. Y'all hang loose. Later.